Virginia. The temperature should hit 70. It's 80 on the asphalt and 92 in the concrete in the corner. A light breeze and sun. 500 laps, that's 1,000 left turns. 30 miles an hour you crawl down pit road. Fuel window, 125 laps. Engine change after final practice for Danica Patrick. She will drop from 32nd to 43rd, and here we go, Darrell.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go short track racing, boys.
They start with their tempers and fenders intact. Who will lead lap one? Ambrose on the high side. Jimmy comes digging. Ambrose will lead the first lap in his Richard Petty Ford.
Well, you can tell the racetrack's pretty clean in that outside groove. We were having issues with that in practice, but right now that outside didn't look too bad. Marcus Ambrose was able to hold on there for a couple of laps.
Right now, Joey Logano in that 22 car, he's working on Brian Vickers in the 55. He's making the outside work.
That's for third place, behind Johnson, the new leader, and Ambrose.
See, Larry, that's a good thing. If these guys will run out there like that, that rubber will stay pushed up out of the groove, and they'll be able to use two lanes around the turns.
Matt Kenseth outside of Jeff Gordon. Remember when these two got together at Bristol? That didn't end well, and we've only begun. 3 laps in at Martinsville Speedway, side by side for 6.
And right now, if he doesn't find a hole to get in, he's going to fall back to about 25th, because that's about how long the line of cars are that's behind Jeff Gordon in the 24.
And Larry, every guy there, Keselowski, Carl, all of them know that, and they're not going to touch any slack.
Brad Keselowski in the 2 takes advantage of Kenseth on the inside, and Carl Edwards, his bumper's nestled right up against Keselowski's board. He's not going to give Kenseth anywhere to hide on the inside.
Keep an eye on that 99 today. That car was bad fast in practice, and Carl told me last night, I've got a car that can win this race.
And Kenseth was able to slide down in front of Carl Edwards, so he finally finds a hole at the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, teammates, I'll cut you some slack right now there, buddy.
Frank Bentley and Smith battle. Nick Gilliland drops to the inside on Strimmy. There's still a lot of 2x2. Tony Stewart on the inside.
I'm going to be anxious to see how Tony Stewart in the 14 runs today. He was the very first driver out in qualifying the other day, and the track had no grip whatsoever when he went out to make his qualifying run.
Yeah, and you heard Steve Burns say Addington said they made a lot of changes in the car. Thought it'd be a lot better than where they started. Another guy that I'll be interested to watch is back in the pack a little ways is Mark Martin, substituting for Denny Hamlin today in the 11 car. They had a lot of issues with that car.
55 there sitting third, and here is Mark Martin, who's in the 11th this week, but will move to that 55 after Martin.
I asked Denny, I said, well, what's the problem? Why, Denny's usually up front here at Martinsville, and Denny said, Mark's driving style is so different than mine. He's on the gas harder, he's on the brakes harder, he just does everything. Steering box, he's not happy with very many things about the car.
And here is Denny Hamlin, his back in a brace from that crash in California, sidelined for an indefinite length of time, indeterminate length of time, not indefinite, until released by the doctors to get back behind the wheel, but he's at the track.
Well, we got some
cheering him on.
Got some action there coming off turn 2 that time. David Strimmy got into Gilliland there on the outside, made some contact, got cars sideways, but they saved them and continue on.
And this group of drivers right now, they're battling for 28, but what they know, they're less than a half a lap behind leader Jimmy Johnson.
30 car up on the curve. When you get up on that curve, even though it's softened up, you see it's a lot softer than it used to be, they still make some pretty serious contact. That could cut that left rear tire down on the 38 car.
5th place, Casey Kane. Brad Keselowski. 6th, rather. Right behind Jeff Gordon and ahead of Matt Kenseth, number 20.
Well, one of the things that we were really concerned about with this tire and the way it was shedding rubber is if there would be 2 grooves today. Could you run on the outside? Could you make a pass on the high side? I thought when we started this race, it looked like it was going to maybe have a 2-groove track, but man, everybody fought for the bottom. It looks like they're trying to stay on the bottom right now.
Nobody wants to let Casey Kane in that 5 car down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's battling beside Kyle Busch, the 18 that we're riding with.
I think, Larry, with this tire, you better make all your passes pretty early on these tires, because we saw a lot of give up in the tires. We saw a lot of cars slipping and sliding after 20 or so laps on a set of tires. I think if you're going to pounce on somebody, you better do it early.
And number one, that's Jamie McMurray, running for a great cause. Race for Insulin is on McMurray's car today. He gets inside Casey Kane. And the 93 has bounced off the wall. Travis Quaffle. Continue under green. Here's a look at it.
Just get up off the corner car, gets a little tail happy. That's pretty hard lick. Got a car around Danica Patrick in turn 3 and 4.
And she had passed about 8 cars, Darrell, after starting in the back due to an engine change. She'd been moving up through the field, working the low side of the racetrack. Didn't see what got her turned around.
Well, what I noticed in her practice and everything is that she kind of makes a late entry into the corner. She makes that road race entry where you stay out, get that late entry down in the turn, and you'll see her coming right here. She gets under Kenny Schrader right here, and Kenny just really pinches her down, and Danica spins the car out to stay off of Schrader.
Yeah, she was as low on the racetrack as she could go.
Let's maybe see where this got started.
You just see there, Schrader's not cutting her a whole lot of slack, and she's trying to get on the brakes hard to stay off of Kenny, and the back of the car just comes around. Kenny goes on, Danica goes around.
There we got a few takers on pit road. It started with Jamie McMurray in the 1, Casey Kane in the 5. Krista, Kane is in.
Yes, he is. They were basically deciding do what everyone else does, and then Casey said, I think I need tires. Kenny Francis, the crew chief, said that let's get 4. Casey worried he hit the curb a little bit on that first run. Crew coming around, working on the left side. Matt?
All right, Truex is in. Almirola comes in for a pit stop. Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, and many more. Jamie Mack.
I think this is one of those moves, Larry, where you say, I'm going to get tires now. The next time, maybe there'll be a caution before too long. I won't have to come back to pit road.
And those drivers that stayed out probably will have to come.
Varying strategies, 18 laps in at Martinsville Speedway in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. We'll go side by side with NASCAR on Fox.